welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Ukraine's aspirations for membership in the European Union and NATO can be added to the preamble of the Ukrainian Constitution. And the Constitutional Commission is already finalizing the draft laws on constitutional amendments. So will the Ukrainian main law be changed? And will the new amendments be enough to make the Ukrainian path towards Europe irreversible? To talk more about that, we're joined in the studio today by Stanislav Shevchuk. He is the chairman of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for the invitation.
So how real is the necessity to change Ukraine's main law?
You mean this particular question or in general? Because so many aspirations now from the political camps to change something or to adopt new constitution.
Okay,
on
in
referendum.
general. Let's talk in general.
In general, I'm not so big supporter to change everything in our constitution. Generally, our constitution is very good, but of course, I may accept that we need some changes, at least for, you just mentioned, the Ukrainian aspirations to the European Union and NATO.
And what about the fact that our constitution is the main law for the country that lives in peace, and we have a war going on in the east of our country, so maybe that also requires for some changes in our constitution.
The constitution is the highest legal act for peaceful solutions in the relation state with people, with citizens, with regarding human rights. But of course now we are living in the situation of hybrid war. It means that we need to look very careful and carefully look on the possible changes to the constitution, because no changes is possible if they are under some kind of pressure, some kind of special mood of politicians related to the situation of hybrid war. Because changes to the constitution must be very well designed, drafted and sophisticated.
What changes are absolutely crucial to the Ukrainian constitution in order for Ukraine to continue its path into the EU and NATO?
According to sociological data, the sociological surveys, the absolutely majority of Ukrainian people support the European integration of Ukrainian state and of Ukraine. It's a question of economic prosperity. Also, in the situation of hybrid war with Russia, and the question of security is a very important question, because security turns to stability if it's in economical prosperity. It's joint things we need to consider together. That's why the question of Ukrainian integration to NATO is very important for survival of state as democratic and a state which is ruled by the rule of law.
Mm-hmm. How high would you say is the level of trust from Ukrainian citizens to the judiciary system of Ukraine?
In the previous past, of course, not so high level, because so many scandals, and this is the requirements of revolution of dignity. After the revolution of dignity, politicians insisted on the topic that all judges are totally corrupted persons. I never accept this idea, but of course we need to change the judiciary, because it's very important, the trust, the public integrity of judiciary, that it's very important for the rule of law in my country.
Will this establishment of so much anticipated anti-corruption court help it, in your opinion? It's
only my preliminary consideration, but the question is that I cannot give you any answer on this question, because potentially there's some question of constitutionality of anti-corruption court legislation. Anti-corruption court will be or would be the subject for consideration in the Constitutional Court. So I need.
How independent is the Constitutional Court then? How transparent is the Constitutional Court?
You mean how the Constitutional Court would decide this issue? For me, it's prohibited to comment, because I am a judge and I need to withdraw if some possible topics will be in our court.
Okay, well, speaking of that, the Investigation Committee of Russia has initiated criminal cases against 15 judges from Ukraine, including yourself, on suspicion of violation of rights and freedoms of a person and a citizen. Could you comment?
It's a story of a story of aggression, of Russian aggression, annexation of Crimea, and the Russian active participation in the conflict in Donbass, war in Donbass region. But starting from the annexation of Crimea, we decided in March 2014, before referendum, 2 days before, that this referendum was unconstitutional in Crimea, because only the all-Ukrainian referendum, according to Article 73 of our Constitution, is allowed on the territorial, possible territorial changes. And that's why that the referendum in Crimea was totally unconstitutional. But nevertheless, the Constitutional Court of Russian Federation provided the opinion after 5 days. Our decision when we decided on these issues, that everything was okay, and according to the opinion of the Russian Constitutional Court, it was possible to join, to adopt Crimea, so-called Crimea state, to part of Russia. Of course, it's not a judgment. It's not a legitimate judgment on our opinion of our judges and Ukrainian state, because it's a political process, political involvement of Constitutional Court judges of Russian Federation for the justification of annexation of Crimea. It's the first time after Second World War, in my opinion. And of course, Ukrainian General Prosecutor Office raised a criminal case against Russian Constitutional Court judges. This is simple reciprocity measures after that.
So what's your next action plan in this matter?
It's a matter for other branches of government. In this case, the General Prosecutor Office, how to develop such case, Ukrainian courts, and of course, President of Ukraine, who his initiative in 2015 year to start the individual sanction judges of the Russian Constitutional Court within the sanction list, and the persona non grata in Ukraine.
You said that the future action plan depends on other government branches. Is this why you've initiated meetings with the heads of parliamentary fractions?
It's other topic, but the question is that after election as a president of the court, I mean, my responsibility for the court as a chairman of the president of the court, we decided several issues, including two cases on language law and referendum. And we decided totally unconstitutional laws, because the procedure of the adoption was totally unconstitutional. It's a very big issue, and in the parliament, many deputies are still thinking about it. It's something like unusual, and for them, they scare that 90% of our laws would be unconstitutional according to the same procedures.
Speaking of that, what would you think about the bill regarding the abolition of parliamentary immunity?
It's a traditional case for the Constitutional Court. On all constitutional changes, we need to provide opinion. This opinion must be positive one. If now negative opinion, it means that no one goes further. But in our case, it's a ninth time. According to our, we have 22 years of our constitution, and Constitutional Court, which is working also from 1997, and during this period of time, we already adopted 9 decisions on lifting deputy immunity, and all of them are positive, very positive ones. So we just continue our tradition. But also we mentioned some ideas in motivation part that we need to lifting the deputy immunities must be very careful, because it's a question of stability of institutional system, parliament, in the system of separation of powers, and very important that deputies must be protected from from unlawful searches, arrests, and other illegal ways to block the activity. So the question is not so easy, but our opinion was positive, yes.
Okay, this brings me to my next question. What is your opinion on the law of government cleansing, or so-called lustration law?
The same situation. This case is still under consideration in the Constitutional Court. It's more than 2 years. We are on the final stage for the adoption, the final decision. So I cannot comment these issues now because we are in the process of decision.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing the information you could comment on. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for the invitation.
That was Stanislav Shevchuk. He is the chairman of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned with UATV for more.